Good morning. Welcome into the video. Today we are doing a Q&A. Today we're going to be answering questions given to me by you for me to get into the nitty-gritty. Some business stuff, some future of Pokemon stuff, some personal questions for me, Mike, and just in general, talking about Zorner cards.
Let's get into it.
So, question number 1. Can you give us the origin story of Zorner cards? I can. My memory's pretty good because it was only 6 months ago that I decided to make a website called Zorner Cards. And really the inspiration for this came from PokeNE. If you don't follow PokeNE on YouTube, good YouTube content as well as great sealed Japanese online store. He made an entire series on YouTube about how to start an online Pokemon business. And he's been making those videos for a few years, but the true origin comes from a video that I saw right before one of his, which was a video by Coop's Collection. Great guy, go follow him as well. I'm just gonna be shouting people out this whole video, but Coop's Collection, he had a video where a guy was looking for a Sandshrew, specifically a Topps Sandshrew from the original Topps Chrome set. And Coop was like, oh, I don't have the Chrome one, I have this one here. The guy was super excited about it and kind of did like a bunny hop away, some funny editing in the short that I saw from Coop, and I liked it. I showed it to my wife. I was like, this is hilarious. Like, this guy really wanted this card. He got so happy about it. And then he hops away. Showed it to my wife. And the next day I got served a video by PokeNE that was like a 20-minute long dissertation from him about how he thought the Pokemon market was going to be looking going forward, what the cycles were like. And as someone with a background in economics, I really enjoyed listening to his thoughts and opinions on Pokemon as part of the general collectibles market. I watched the whole video, and then I just started devouring everything on his feed. And that was kind of the origin story of why I started paying attention to Pokemon from a business aspect. So that's back in January, right? We're not talking that long ago at the time of me making this video. We've got our 6th anniversary celebration coming up, I think on September 9th. We're gonna be doing a live stream for 6 months of streaming, doing live rip and ships, as well as the store being online for just about 6 months as well. So, second question, are you going to do a Q&A video? This one comes from Caden. Yes, Caden, we're doing it right now. Good job. Hooray! That's gonna lead us into our next question, which is, what is it like starting a Pokemon business in the current market? And another question that was asked was, how do you acquire so much product that you could start a rip and ship? Well, those things kind of go hand in hand. If you look into PokeNE and you follow what his online Pokemon business model was, it's basically find someone in Japan that is an exporter of sealed Japanese product, import it to the US, and then sell it here, and that's how you run your business, make your margin. For me, I kind of just threw some money into the business. I bought from a few different suppliers in Japan that I had made connections with, just to test the waters, see how it all went, see if I was gonna get a box of rocks in the mail. And it all went well, and I had all this stuff. I turned my website on, and I went to bed that night thinking, oh boy, when I wake up tomorrow, I'm gonna sell out. Everyone wants Terastal Festival. Well, when I woke up the next morning, not only did I not sell out that day or the next day, I didn't even get anyone that went to my website. So I had this realization that in order for me, beyond content and making shorts on TikTok or YouTube, Instagram Reels, making long form videos on YouTube, I knew that I would excel if I could get in front of people and have actual engagement conversations with them. I've always been someone who does better, let's say in person as opposed to text, if that makes sense. Being able to portray myself, talk through what my thoughts are, much like I'm doing in this video here, right? There's some questions, I'm giving answers. There's that level of communication that exists. So I said, I need to start going live. And for some reason, instead of just starting on YouTube or Twitch, or even like Whatnot, I said, I'm gonna do TikTok. I had probably, I don't know, 400 followers on TikTok at the point that I was like, maybe I need to go live. And I started a business account so that I would be able to go live, because otherwise you need some follower goal, whatever. Set up the TikTok shop and started going live, but still no reviews, no product sales. Why would anyone buy from me? I was getting maybe 3 to 5 viewers, peaking at like 10, and then that would be about it. So I was just ripping product for myself to show, hey, I'm a real person, so on and so forth. But I had still been buying more and more Pokemon cards from Japan, and I've been getting some simplified Chinese as well. English obviously was nearly impossible to get regularly. You kind of had to score at Target or Walmart. Even I think this was before Costco was doing any big deals that they've been doing recently. So getting things for MSRP off the table almost, getting things for distribution as an online store that was just starting off, impossible. Still is to this day. So to really answer the question, what is it like starting a Pokemon business in the current market, and how do you acquire so much product that you could start a rip and ship? Well, I accidentally acquired a lot of product because I was just buying stuff assuming that I was going to be selling it. Wasn't selling it, had a whole bunch of it. So when I started doing live streaming, it's because I had a lot of stuff. Sometimes that would be from me scoring at Target or Walmart, getting some online stuff for MSRP for English product and going that route. I went from the goal of being an online shop to becoming a rip and shipper, right? A box breaker, doing live rips, and selling sealed product as well. But as part of that live streaming process, the main thing that has changed for me is I am no longer focused on how do I get the lowest price. I need to score at MSRP if I'm gonna sell. I need those 100% gains. For me, it's more about now in the current market, I need to have stuff on hand. And even if that means I'm only gonna make, 15, 25, 50 cents a pack by selling it at market price, or just a little bit above or a little bit below, depending on what the pack itself is, I have to focus on at least having the stuff on hand so that if people want to open something, they can open it on my stream. And that really matters, because if you're a first-time buyer and you go to somebody's stream and you're like,
this guy doesn't even have prismatic evolutions. Yeah, sure he has Twilight Masquerade, but everyone has Twilight Masquerade. I want prismatic, I want 151, I want Crown Zenith.
Those things matter when you're trying to acquire first-time customers. So the most important things I would say about starting a Pokemon business for me in this current market was getting my supply set up for simplified Chinese as well as Japanese product. I have sturdy connections with suppliers in China and Japan to be able to bring in sealed product in the form of booster boxes. But it was also making connections and understanding how to navigate the market for English. I was never going to be able to get distribution if I'm only selling what I score by fighting against the botters or the scalpers, the people waiting in line. I was never going to win that way. So in the current market, I buy bulk prices from people who have a lot. Sometimes that's buying sealed collections, and sometimes that's buying from the people who do happen to be buying a lot all at once. They get it for MSRP plus tax and shipping, and then they sell it to me for a percentage under market, and then I'm able to sell it at market price on the individual pack basis. Perfect world scenario, we're selling things for MSRP. I have wholesale or distribution set up, so I'm able to get things for under MSRP, and everyone's happy. That's just not the current Pokemon market, but that's part of why we love Pokemon, is it is a collectible. Those prices go up and down. The cards you buy end up being worth money. It's not an Ace of Diamonds, it's a Pikachu full art. That's the way I look at it. Next up, we have a double question from Legato. In one question, he asks, redheads, blondes, or brunettes? And in another question, he says, do you ever rip self-packs, Mr. Zornerman? So, my wife is blonde. That should answer that question. Do you ever self-rip packs, Mr. Zornerman? Yeah, absolutely. I rip packs. I will almost always do it with friends in person or live on stream. The only other time that I ever rip packs is if I score like a pack from a Pokemon vending machine. I will rip it in the car and make a video out of it. But for me, either the content or the camaraderie are the two main goals when it comes to ripping packs these days. So we did our first box break of Tag All-Stars There was a pack that was left over, so I ripped that pack for myself on stream. For me, I rip so many packs on the live streams now that unless I'm specifically trying to get a card or rip a vintage set that maybe is going to be harder to find, and I have it on hand, then yeah, I will rip. That's kind of my motto there. But I'm telling you guys watch because it scratches the itch. I'm ripping packs. That definitely scratches the itch for me. Have you ever lost a highly valuable card? Certainly. I went through my childhood binder recently. Back in 2020, I did not even ask my parents if they had any Pokemon cards because they had recently downsized twice and done 2 moves that went on through COVID. And I thought, surely if they had had any of my stuff, they would have gotten rid of it or told me to come pick it up. Turns out they did have one of my binders. We went through it together. A whole bunch of loose cards as well that I had just laying around. And there wasn't a single Charizard in there at all. And I just find that unbelievable. I don't have any pure memories of like pulling a Charizard or having, oh, this is my first edition, base set Charizard. I don't remember anything specific. I think it's insanely unlikely that I didn't have a Charizard back in the day, even if it was like a dark Charizard from Rocket. So that's gone, right? Whether I traded that away or lost it somewhere along the way, moved a lot as a kid, surely that's a highly valuable card that's been lost. More recently, I do a really good job of not losing things, but when you handle as many cards as I do, there are some cards that disappear. None of them have been highly valuable though. Thankfully, at most like a $10 or a $12 card has disappeared. And then guess what? I find it later and it's worth $4 or $5 when I find it. So what are you gonna do? What's the most expensive card that you actually like? I think there are a lot of expensive cards that I do like. I think the reason that I like them is generally going to be my normal ranking. How I normally would rank cards would be artwork, exclusivity, language, and then popularity. Kind of my tiers there. The main thing for me is always going to be, do I like looking at the card? If I don't like looking at the card, what am I doing? If I'm going to hold it for myself, it's going to be part of my personal collection. This is a question about what I actually like. Gotta like looking at it. That's the number one thing. But I'm also going to like looking at it and knowing that not a lot of other people in the world can be looking at it right now as well. Then language, and then population. That's kind of the thing there, right? You can have exclusivity, and then you can have population or popularity. I would say popularity is probably the least important thing for me. If I really like a card, I don't care that much if other people do like the card. I feel like most people say this, but then prices kind of say that that's not true. Maybe that's a hot take, but for some reason, the most popular cards still are worth the most money. So even if you don't like the popular cards, it seems like a lot of people do actually like the popular cards. That's why they end up being as pricey as they are. Lucrative. Zorner investments. Is Pokemon more lucrative than real estate and crypto? Well, this is a reference to the fact that my actual business is called Zorner Investments, because that's the LLC that I created 2 years ago before coming up with Zorner Cards. So, am I investing in Pokemon? Am I investing in real estate? Am I investing in crypto? I think real estate these days is considered an investment. I don't know if I would consider crypto or Pokemon an investment. I would consider them a speculation. And depending on how you're interacting with all three of these things, I think they're all speculation, right? If you're buying property in the hopes that, it becomes more valuable in the future, that's not an investment as much as it is speculation. Same thing with crypto, right? If you're buying crypto because you think it's going to be at X, Y, and Z price in the future, that is a little bit of speculation to me, and I feel like Pokemon is almost always speculation, even if it is sealed product, because we're saying, oh, sealed product just goes up. Sure, there's a lot of things that are out of our control in that regard, and I think that, the more you look at buying into individual cards in particular, that is more speculation than investment. So as far as Zorner Investments goes, from a Pokemon, real estate, and crypto standpoint, I'm not really investing in any of it right now. Right now, I am operating purely as a reseller. I run, an online business, and I sell the things that I hold as inventory. Right now, I have the ability to turn things over within the 3-month window that you would want as a reseller, and I can turn over pretty much 100% of everything that I have, whether it's behind me or in storage somewhere else, within a 3-month window to turn a profit, right? So I want to do that. At a certain point, businesses do get big enough where they're not able to turn over everything that they have. And so then it becomes a little bit more of an investment or a speculative play. And you'll see this with people like Rudy at Alpha Investments, another shout out, follow Alpha Investments on YouTube. He has Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, other TCGs, Lego, that he is just holding on to because he does not have the ability to sell everything that he has all the time. So instead of selling it for a lower price to move it faster, he holds it, the price appreciates over time, and he realizes those gains in the same way that he would if he was just constantly selling things just at a later date. That's kind of what I would consider Pokemon investing. But again, in order for an investment to pay off, you do actually have to sell it. So just because you have an ETB of Hidden Fates that you bought for $80 and now it's worth $400, that doesn't mean that you actually made $320. You have speculated on an asset that has gone up $320 worth of value. You need to sell it before you are realizing gains. For me, current state, 6 months into the business, I'm selling things. I'm trying to realize gains because then I could buy more things. I could buy cooler things. Pokemon more lucrative than real estate and crypto? That's a tough leap to make. Maybe not against crypto, but real estate, it's tough. It's tough, tough, tough. People need to live in houses. They don't need to live in Pokemon card houses. And you can't live in a house made of crypto. What is your opinion on getting into sets like Evolving Skies or Prismatic that don't hit often but hit big? Yeah, I think this is something that we see with like God packs and Prismatic especially. You don't hit often, but sometimes when you do hit, you hit so big that it's worthwhile for all of the money that you put in. However, on average, unless you're buying Prismatic at MSRP, you are almost never gaining that expected value. It is worse than playing blackjack. You walk up to the table at a casino, you know you're gonna lose money. You buy a pack of Prismatic for full MSRP price and you're going,
ooh, I hope I just make money on this pack.
That's not really the way that it works. And if you are ripping packs purely to make money, wait a minute, that's what I do. Hold on a second. If you are ripping packs personally, purely to say, when I open this pack, I'm going to make more money than I spent on the pack, not always the best idea, especially, and I'll transition away from Prismatic on this one, because I do think that when you're able to get it for MSRP, you can compare that to market prices where everything's inflated because the pack price is inflated at market price, so the singles are higher. But you look at something like Evolving Skies, ripping Evolving Skies trying to make money feels very rough because all of these sets that are out of print, you have to hit a PSA 10 in order to make money, essentially. If you rip an entire booster box of Evolving Skies, you'd have to pull the Moonbryon or another alt art and then have it grade as a PSA 10 and then sell that PSA 10 in order to pay off the Evolving Skies price. So if you are specifically just trying to make money by ripping packs, I think there are better ways to analyze the market. Maybe that's a video I'll make later on. Ripping which packs to make the most money. Is that something you guys would want to see? Let me know in the comments if you are interested in knowing how you can try to aim to make money by ripping packs. Interesting thought process. Mark L says, if I owned the house next door to you, then would I be able to come over? No. Rule number 1, don't come to my house. Don't come to my house. What cards/packs do you think will hold value the best 10 years from now? Mark, that's a great question for a part 2. Don't come to my house. But if you were to hold packs, and I'm gonna say packs here because I don't want to speculate on cards specifically. If it is cards, I'm probably gonna say, like, if you look at Ultra Modern right now, those are the cards that have huge populations, and yet they're still worth more than some vintage and some mid-era cards are. So it's very hard to predict 10 years from now, is anyone even gonna care about Gold Stars? Is anyone even gonna care about WotC Vintage, your first set based edition stuff? Or are they gonna care about the Moonbryon? Are they gonna care about the Sunbryon? Are they gonna care about Bubble Mew? That's hard to say 10 years from now. But what I can say is packs and sealed product certainly seems to continue to gain value over time. So if you're gonna buy something and put it into a safe for 10 years, I think it's very easy to say the sets right now that are not out of the average person's price range and will not appreciate out of the average person's price range 10 years from now, those are the sets for liquidity's sake that will be the easiest to hold value and then sell. So for me, I think 151 is the clear-cut answer. A lot of people out there are gonna say Evolving Skies, they're gonna say Team Up, they're gonna say XY Evolutions, they're gonna say Cosmic Eclipse. They might even say Prismatic Evolutions. And I think that the situation for those sets might be that they get priced out, specifically on the older sets where you're seeing a booster box of Team Up right now is $9,000. What's that gonna be 10 years from now? And how easy is it gonna be to sell a booster box of Team Up when that price could be $40,000, $20,000 a box? So are the gains worth it on a liquidity standpoint? Whereas today, you could maybe get the same percentage gains if you bought a whole bunch of 151 booster bundles or ETBs. Probably booster bundles, the ETBs are pretty high priced right now, especially on a per pack basis. I would say go the route of doing the 151 booster bundles for the next 10 years. Clip this, mail it to me 10 years from now, and we'll see if I was right. But I do think that 151 as a pack, great buy. It's gonna retain value. It's crazy to me that kids, like actual children these days, still love the set 151 as much as the boomers like me who grew up with 151 as the main Pokemon set. Everyone loves it. So 151, that's my answer. Next 10 years. Mike, which Pokemon do you think will be the most difficult to master set in English or Japanese? You could exclude the obvious outliers that are insanely overpriced, like Charizard, or leave out the ones that you would have to be Elon Musk in order to afford. So first off, overpriced like Charizard is tough, right? Is Charizard specifically overpriced? I don't know if that's something that I can say. Charizard's obviously insanely popular. And again, we're gonna go back to what I said earlier. People say things are overpriced, but then they're the most popular Pokemon, they're the most popular pack, they're the most graded one, and yet people still pay those prices, and that's why the prices are high. So is Charizard overpriced? I don't know. Most difficult to master set? Probably gonna be whatever one is the most expensive overall anyway, but that seems like a boring answer. So for me, it's going to be whichever cards have the gold cards. And that's a combination of rarity and scarcity and price level, right? Those gold cards or gold stars are expensive. Gold stars are expensive and they're hard to find, right? So anything, I'm talking, you know, shiny Gyarados, I'm talking Delta Species, Gold Stars, anything that's in that Gold Star era, those prices are nuts right now. And it's because they're hard to find. The cards are hard to find, so they're expensive. I think that would be really hard to master set. Anything that you would have to get a Gold Star for. But it's also like, what's the most cards? It's just gonna come down to price. If you're trying to pull everything yourself, you gotta pick something that didn't start until Gen 10. You want to master set something? Master set Sprigatito or Quaxley. Like, do that if you want to master set something. Master setting something for the original 151, even the original 251, good luck. Out of all the packs you have on the store, what are your top 3 worth it packs, taking into consideration the pricing as well? For me, I think right now it's probably White Flare. The hit rates on White Flare have been insane. You have the chance at God packs. You have the chance at the Red Victini and the White Reshiram BWR. White Flare pricing has come down, and the singles are kind of starting to settle to the point where vendors at card shows and eBay listings are going to have some solid information. So pricing considered, I would say White Flare. Black Bolt seems a little bit rough, so I'm not going to include it. For Japanese, at the exact moment, I would say Mega Brave. We've seen Mega Symphonia prices fall pretty drastically, but the Mega Brave, you have the Lily SAR, you have Lucario Mega Ultra Rare, you have the Lucario SAR. It just seems like a good set, and newest is always better as far as immediately getting prices and then being able to sell directly into the market. So that's what I would say right now. Oh man, I guess I would just say 151 again is the third best one that I would offer here. I don't think the price of 151 is ever going to be lower than it is today. I certainly could be wrong on that, but I would say 90% chance that it's not like lower drastically than it is today, maybe a 10-20% movement up and down as if they do some reprints or re-releases with big stuff like Costco or Target. But we saw that last time. They keep putting these tins out, they keep putting Blooming Waters out. 151 has not moved. Honorable mention, Crown Zenith. It was a $4 pack 6 months ago. It's a $14 pack today, $10, $14 pack. And it hits. So when the pack prices start going up even faster than they have already, the singles prices should follow. Yeah, I think that's good. White Flare, Crown Zenith, 151, and whatever the newest Japanese set is. Alrighty guys, last question here. I want to thank you again if you've made it this far into the video. Reminder to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We do have memberships up now, so I am doing a weekly kind of video where I talk through a few different things. It's more market analysis, so some of the questions here, you get some insights into how my mind thinks in those membership-only videos. It's like $3 a month, it's nothing crazy, and you get to use all the fun emotes that we have for the live streams now. So consider the membership. Let's get into this last question here. You stated the Pokemon TCG market is in a, quote, Thanksgiving status. Which set release do you believe started this seemingly new peak? How long has it been this way? So this is the Thanksgiving kind of metaphor that I draw for Pokemon, where the reason right now that Pokemon is in such a boom is that we are in a Thanksgiving status, which is any time of year you can go into the grocery store and buy a turkey, but the week of Thanksgiving, everyone wants to buy a turkey. So if you're there, chances are, unless you score right when they drop the turkeys into the freezers, you might not get the exact turkey that you want. You might have to settle for a few smaller turkeys instead of the big one that you want. And that's kind of the way that I would describe the Pokemon market right now. There are a lot of sets, but if you want the newest, if you want your favorite, if you want the biggest turkey of a Pokemon set, you either gotta pay the price or you gotta score at the right time. And so that's kind of the way that I describe it, right? You can go and throughout all of Pokemon's history, if you look, things are available for under MSRP on release. They're available for under MSRP pretty much until they're out of print, and then the prices start going up. But right now, it's Thanksgiving. So which set release do I believe started this new peak, and how long has it been this way? So you can look and say that it's specifically because of Surging Sparks. It was available under MSRP for pre-order for quite some time, and then after it released, the prices were available under MSRP for just a few days before it really started to shoot up in popularity. And we kind of saw that with Surging Sparks as what this peak is. So for me, I would say that's kind of where we started seeing this. That was the push that went above MSRP, which is like an imaginary line anyway. But with Prismatic Evolutions, it's a specialty set. And what have we seen with specialty sets that are good? So I'm excluding Shrouded Fable. Sorry to everyone that likes Shrouded Fable, but it just is what it is. Prismatic, Black and White, what are we gonna see with the next set? But you see this with other ones where Journey Together, the price was high, then it dropped low, now it's kind of gone back up. Destined Rivals was super high, it kind of dipped a little bit, and now it's gone even higher than super high. Those are main sets that release and they kind of have their like flatline pricing as everyone burns through booster boxes as the set first comes out. But with something like Prismatic and kind of what we saw with Black and White as well, when your main source of getting packs for the first month or 2 months of a set is from ETBs, that holds the price pretty high because people don't want to sell their ETBs on a per pack price the same way they would a booster box. And to me, what we're seeing with the way that Prismatic is maintaining that high price, I think Prismatic is to blame. And that's probably not a hot take. So I would say when it comes to the Thanksgiving status of Pokemon, it's probably not just because of Prismatic, it's probably because of a few things. And maybe a hot take that I have that I might talk about in another video is that Pokemon doing what they do to change the way that hit rates work between sets, maybe that can lead to a little bit of supply and demand issues. Let's save that for another video. I really appreciate you guys watching along the Q&A here. If you made it to the end and you have a question that I didn't answer, you want a little bit more clarification, please leave it in the comments on this video below. We will also include a link to the next questionnaire form for my next Q&A. And if you want me to do a deep dive on any topic in my member-only market analysis videos, leave that in the comments below and I will reply if I do end up covering that topic so that you can be aware of that. Hope to see you guys in some of the live streams. Once again, shout out to everyone. We're not even a month into the memberships. I think we have over 150 members so far. That's awesome. We are actually now on track to get to 1,000 subs, and that will be a huge bump for the channel. So I'm gonna announce a giveaway when we get to 1,000 subs. We do have the September giveaway coming up here shortly, so keep an eye out for both of those announcements. See you guys in the next one. Thanks.